Today we have a special guest with us, Lauren from Trodo.com. They are an e-commerce brand that focuses on selling car parts across many countries, not only Europe, but outside Europe as well. And I think they've gone through a really interesting journey that is being driven from the top down to deliver on their business objectives. You can tell us a little bit about yourself and the business, and then we can get started.
Thanks for having me. So I'm Laurent. I lead the customer experience for Trodo and Eurodel, which is our sister brand in Norway. And our mission globally is to remove the obstacles to movement for customers, ensure the freedom of mobility. So providing spare parts for different types of vehicles and also different vehicle models. The idea for us is being the assistant to the daily mobility, making sure that a family is able to go on vacation the time that they have planned it, that you're able to go to work next Monday, and that the delivery of the parts that you need to repair your vehicle arrive on time, and that happens effortlessly in the most fluid way possible. And specifically also knowing that there are always issues that are bound to happen, that we are there to resolve them with confidence, with know-how, with experience, making sure to resolve any hardships along the way.
So your end customer, or the people who feel the impact of your service, maybe a family, maybe a business, maybe a small business owner, right? But who do you actually service to? Because you're B2B and B2C, right? What's the model?
Exactly. The largest chunk for us is B2C. We work a lot with our key accounts program, with workshops, with businesses. So those are companies that either repair a large range of vehicles regularly, daily, as well as companies that manage fleets of vehicles that require regular servicing. So it's mixed, and it also brings a larger facet of issues to resolve, to attend to, and the type of experience that we provide to this different type of customer range is important to correctly analyze and correctly design.
And many of them are B2B at the same time that they are B2C, or sometimes B2B2C, right? But in the majority of the cases of the retail brands, the products that they sell are like clothing or furniture. They don't have a critical impact on their clients, right? So if I buy a piece of clothing and it takes one more day, or it doesn't fit me and I have to return it, it's not the end of the world, you could say, right? But in your case, like, mobility for some people means their way of living, right? Their way of making a living, or if a business has a large fleet of trucks, or if a family depends on having a vehicle to move around. So I guess the criticality of delivering a effective service is very high, right?
Absolutely. I would say the two most important topics or key points of what we provide is being able to deliver on time at the time that we advertise it would come, and also that what you will receive also fits your needs, fits your vehicle.
Yeah.
It could be you providing the parts to your mechanic. It could be the mechanic ordering a wide range of parts to fix the vehicles for customers that are expecting their cars to be functioning right away without having to return, replace parts.
Yeah. So in the journey of improving your service operations, you've gone into exploring and trying to understand and implement AI into your support services, AI tools, AI tooling. And we've been doing this together for the last year. And I think a lot of the software vendors tell you, oh yeah, you can do this in weeks, right? But you've been able to deliver quite a big impact to the business, understanding the complexities of it. What sort of operational impacts have you been able to achieve that you can talk to us about?
Probably the most critical, the most important one that had the biggest impact is, of course, the support quality, especially on the speed side of things. So we're able to respond faster and to resolve a high volume of requests automatically. We're dealing with 150 plus countries, thousands of customers which are taken care of daily, and we have to ensure that the same range of service is provided to everyone. Some will have more complicated requests that require more attention. A big chunk will have requests that are easily solvable with automation. So the first introspective analysis that we made before jumping into this is, what are we interested in applying AI in, and specifically automation? For us, AI means more automation than a sort of conversational LLM to talk and chat about the weather.
Yeah.
So we saw a very high number, over 80% of cases that were resolved in one touch by our staff, one response resolution. So this, of course, is also due to experience and the long years of making sure that the templates are fit every scenario, that those are easily triggerable by the employee. So if you already have the context, the business use case clear, the material to respond in text, and at the end of the day, you're only using a human to trigger it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to continue that way. We understood that it was absolutely a logical idea to get deeper into the automation space and and to tackle those very straightforward requests to resolve.
Yeah.
So doing this, we were already right away able to see that from around 40 to 50,000 requests per month that we receive on a peak month, we're able to reduce or to automatically resolve up to 40%.
Yeah, that's a huge number. So from
Yes.
40,000, that's around 16,000 requests that get solved either by clients themselves or by the AI managing the resolution.
It frees up a lot of resources, and there's a lot of different calculations that you're able to make on the return on investment on it.
Yeah.
Regarding different departments. But in general, with the compilation of the changes that we've made, we've saved multiple employees worth of resources per month.
But surely, obviously, there is that quantitative way to say this is how much we saved. But the real impact, I think, is in the quality of the service to the people that require, or those cases that require more thorough investigation of the issues, right?
There's always going to be the easy cases that can be resolved quick, and the customer is not expecting.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not expecting the cherry on top. Maybe he would be even annoyed to have too much around the resolution.
Yeah.
He wants to know, where is my order? Where is my
It's very
package at this moment?
transactional.
Exactly.
It's very transactional, yeah.
So you don't want to go into details as to the truck broke down and the driver, Jerry, had difficulties and all. It's not interesting to the customer. He ordered, he has an expected delivery date. Being able to provide quick and straightforward targeted responses is a great way to take care of those direct, simple, I would say, responses.
Yeah.
Low tier, first in row, whatever you wish to call it, tier 1.
Yeah.
And which, by the way, if a human would resolve this case, he would most probably respond the same way.
Yeah.
If not, maybe worse.
Yeah.
I started in a company where we didn't have any quality assurance systems in place. So there would be some employees also, like anywhere else, responding without saying hello, making mistakes. So now for the most complicated ones, the ones that need the extra touch, it's logical that you would want
the human understanding of the full process to really solve the problem effectively.
The out-of-the-box intelligence that maybe one day we will achieve with AI, most likely, but it will always be framed. So the extra service that you're able to provide with a human, with a trained human that understands the culture of the company at its core, and also, in many cases, not follow protocol.
So we were talking about this earlier, the tier 1 type of cases that come in. That's where you will put your junior staff to do things. And the good thing about AI is that you give it the policies and the guidelines and the guardrails that it needs to follow, and it will follow them always. Whilst a human make mistakes over time. But if we detract a little bit from the operational bit, before we move on to that, these type of projects require a lot of attention and effort and investment of time and money and technology. What is the vision from Trodo? Where does customer experience sit for you in terms of priorities? What is the vision of the leadership on what you should be able to deliver? What's the brand promise?
The brand promise is to remove, as I said, every hardship obstacle for you to move forward, essentially, with any of your vehicle types. We're extremely customer centric, so everything revolves around customer centricity. Our logistics department is part of CX. It is integrated fully into CX. So we have a very widespread customer experience philosophy within the company, and customer experience, as we say, is internally for everyone. Everyone is customer experience. The department of customer experience is the one who leads, who consults, who creates workflows, frameworks for others to, I wouldn't say to follow, of course, there's a lot of collaboration and healthy leadership, I would say. But in the end of the day, there is no department that doesn't understand that the customer comes first. And it's easy to say it. It's easy to have internal monologues,
Yeah, posters
speeches,
everywhere.
posters, customer first. Everyone pretty much has it. The difference is made in the dedication of the routines,
Yeah.
making sure that things are up to date and regularly revisited. So something that you have decided 2 years ago is not probably
Relevant.
outdated and not relevant anymore.
Your business is quite complex because you're not just selling clothing, right? You're selling critical parts. So when a customer comes back with an issue, there's some instances where the issue is solved really easy because and the AI can do it because it's within that framework, right? Of handling like easier to resolve issues. But when does the customer require a human to come into place? And why is it so difficult to get that experience fully automated?
First, you have to keep in mind that there are people that are very against AI. So you have to always have the balance between working on the return on investment and having as much as possible resolved automatically because you invested in it. But you want to do it, I would say, in a classy way, in a way that you're also balancing and opening the doors to someone who wants to talk to a human directly. So that's one of the cases. There are customers that engaged with the bot and want a human right away. We analyzed the funny prompts that we received from customers, and one of them was a customer requesting someone who breathes. Yes, it was his way to request a human right away without interacting with the flows, even though the procedures and way we built it are very straightforward. The other side is maybe we haven't set up any procedures yet regarding certain topics. You start small, you start with the most important, the higher volumes. You start with the ones that are easy to configure, straight answers, A to B, a very simple journey. And you keep going down the line and step by step and having more and more automated resolution in place. So the gap will close more and more, and everything that requires human touch, in our case, it's mostly mechanical knowledge.
So experts in the field.
Exactly. And we're going more and more into direction to have to train our staff. So to hire not only experts but also train our staff to increase their knowledge in the matter if they don't have it already. And we're building let's say a group of experts that will attend to the difficult cases only, and all the rest will be handled automatically.
How is this reshaping the employee experience?
It's an ongoing process and a forever process. We have different type of agent profile as well. Profiles that are direct incoming calls on the phone lines. And we don't have AI in place on that level, which we plan to when it has reached a more level. So there are interesting solutions already, but one of our edge in comparing to competitors is having the human available on the phone call. On certain markets, we cannot provide this for every market, but their experience is very different because they are benefiting from different aspects of AI implementation, which is whatever the tech stack has concerning Copilot in Zendesk, ticket summaries, tools that they use to increase their productivity within the platform. So their experience is very different than maybe another group of agents, which would have very long warranty cases to review and also benefit of the ticket summary. That's the operational points. So every team member or the small teams have all pretty different experiences regarding.
But what does that mean in terms of the? So I was talking about this with a client yesterday, right? They were comparing Copilot inside Zendesk as a very specific in-context learning tool, something that is learning from everyday activity, and every day that goes by gives you more back, as opposed to Microsoft Copilot, where it's so generic and say here, and the way organizations are adopting this, right? When you do Microsoft Copilot, is here's a tool that can help you summarize stuff, and it's just not there yet, right? But I think it's because the use case is so wide that it takes a long time for it to learn. Was in the case of Zendesk or this type of in-context pilot applications, they are so good at fine-tuning that in-context learning, right? But in terms of how that impacts the humans, right? How do they feel? Because before this, they were probably copy-pasting information, trying to rethink if how to best answer a question, type it. So what does that mean to them as an employee?
I've seen teams that are able to very deeply investigate root causes and focusing on explaining the root cause and giving a resolution to the customer without worrying on the tone of voice or grammar or making sure that they include points that are part of our QA processes. So you're able to create an ecosystem where the QA processes are documented. So the help that you have within the platform to create responses acknowledges those documents. So the output will already fit our brand profile. So the effort is put where it really matters as opposed to controlling the, like I said, the tone of voice and the frame of how you present the resolution.
So it's a combination of both.
It's a combination of everything. All the AI solutions that you have, the more you build smartly, the more you make sure your knowledge base is accurate, your product data in your catalog, the more you'll be able to make the connections and provide automated responses and also assistance to the agents to respond in a more accurate way in half or less of the time.
Yeah, so accuracy equals quality, right?
I would say in most cases, yes. It's not a straightforward answer. I think quality has very much to do with a judgment of the moment. This is why the human will always be important. You cannot reach customer experience excellence without the fine touch. Like we said before, without sometimes not following protocol because you see that this customer, he's a customer since 8 years, has a huge account, but his return does not match the criteria. So unless you can make the connections between his, let's say, his rates of returns and the size of his account, and it becomes very complicated to connect all those points to then make a decision. And it's also dangerous. So you prefer having a human just making the call and saying, this time we're going to ignore everything.
So that I think that awareness is very human, right? Not only of the criticality of the ticket, but the context of the relationship with the other party. If it's a B2B account, if they, like you say, they are a big account to the business, or if it's a very loyal small shop that has been with the business for a long time, that commercial awareness is very difficult to replicate in systems, right? It's probably something that only a human can, for now, can really grasp.
Absolutely. The things on the small jokes on the side, the things that are unexpected, those are the really human sides that will make a difference. You don't want the bot to hallucinate and talk about, yes, we're selling books, but you want the agent on the phone when the human is reached to ask, oh, you went to vacation last week. I remember we had a call. How was it? This is impossible.
Those type of things.
Exactly.
Yes, I think in the process of you getting to where you are today, I remember when we started talking, the idea or the concept was to try to get to a centralized platform. And from a transformation perspective, to want to implement AI, there's some prerequisites, right? You need to have product information that is very accurate and available. You need to have knowledge management, and you need to have this embedded and empowering the core platform, and also embedded into the different channels that you use, right? What things did you learn in the process? What are the cautionary tales or the advice? Oh man, I wish I would have known this.
I think we did know it, but we could have benefited. We understood very early that knowledge documentation, knowledge base is the core.
Yeah.
And if it's not properly curated, you will have results that are unexpected or wrong, and essentially then be unhappy about your investment. And those things, I would say, can even happen before you make the step. So if you're nervous into going into that, you will benefit from cleaning up your
Yes.
documentation
Yeah.
in any
Yeah.
case. I
Yeah.
learned to love it if you understand. So I started again. I worked a lot on building documentation for the department, on sharing also what I've learned on my side, on working independently. So you're able to spread the information to make sure that people don't have to go through three different employees to get an answer and all that. If
Yeah.
you sit down and already are in a bad mood when starting, it's not going to be fun.
Yes, yeah.
But there's different type of individuals that are good at it, that love it. There's like the more executive type that just goes
Yeah.
and has great ideas and blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And there's the more administrative framed person. And you need to find this person in your organization. It's not, or hire that person. It's not most of the time it's not the specialist. Most
Yeah.
of the time you would have to consult the specialist to get the information and then properly
Document it.
formulate it
Yeah.
and document it. The way the document is formed has to also be AI ready. The messier it is, the more unexpected results you will
You will
have on
get,
the other
yeah.
end. So we knew it and we tackled it, and we could have done it much better, but this is a very important point. Another one is to understand what you wish to achieve. It's a very basic
Concept.
concept. I guess it's expected. It's the classic first question: what do you actually want to do?
Yeah.
But there is a moment where you have to have clear introspective investigation in your company, in your brand, and make decisions, approve decisions as well.
Yeah.
So through the board, whoever has to approve it, and leadership has to go through easy to read, clear governance documentation about what you're actually doing here. And this is a very big challenge because it's easy to fall into the trap of knowing deeply, also in conversations with others in the company, what you wish to achieve, but not having it on paper.
Yeah. And you go through that journey of understanding that's a foundational piece.
Yes, and you while writing it, not just talking about it, while writing it, you need to have a specific thought process to formulate it correctly.
Yeah.
And while doing so, you ask yourself questions as well along the way.
I guess it's like giving a remote team a series of instructions, knowing that you're not going to meet them. So the instructions need to be extremely accurate, right? And people are going to be as good as the instructions and the policies that they are given, right? I think this is one of the areas where we see a lot of the clients that are coming on, or we're onboarding on AI, are having difficulty understanding the magnitude of the effort, right? Because a lot of the times we get this question from brands that come and ask, what is the best AI bot that you have that you can implement? And I answer with, that's the wrong question to ask, right? Everything that happens behind the AI bot needs to be well thought, structured, and just buying an AI assistant is not a strategy. You need a strategy. You need a way to understand how people work in the business, their roles, their functions, their mission within the business, the way you design processes now that you have this technology and automation, and then embedding the technology. And knowledge base, knowledge management is becoming a foundational piece for the utilization of LLMs. So what we see is this shift of service agents becoming more of AI service architects, right? And we talk about this in conversations with clients, and the word service architect sounds scary. But in principle, it's just people who really understand the business, right?
Yes, I think it's scary because it sounds like it's part of the IT department. And honestly, the line is very blurry because it's a technical solution, but it's spread out. It's in HR, it's in customer experience. It becomes very blurry. And this is a big topic as well. The But in terms of job openings and role openings, it's a very interesting era where we see the development of employees internally, which you can work on and enable and provide internal training and growth within the company. Suddenly you have someone who was doing the same thing for 2 years. He doesn't have to do that anymore
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he was just the fastest, and we couldn't take him off because we have
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
requests, and you feel bad about it. You have employees that are great and you cannot take them out because they're great. There's a, what is it, proficiency punishment. So suddenly you can use their skills to develop themselves and work on developing all your systems also
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah.
And they see much more, it's a gratifying process.
Yeah.
You're proud of
You're
part of it.
You're
of course.
elevating the opportunity for people to feel fulfilled at work because they're using their skills to a higher degree, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
One point I wanted to also talk about, you were mentioning which bot is the best, etc.
Because
It's the
you
same. We
had
had
different
different,
bots,
yes,
yeah.
we have different
That's true.
solutions. We have tested the different solutions, not just tested in A/B test before implementation, but actually live. And it's the same. It's all the same. Of course, there's a different LLM behind. There's some are easier to configure, some have more interesting options that you can use, and some are missing some things that you wanted to have from that. It's
Yeah.
of course, but I believe in the future where we will work with a lot of bridges, which will in the back end be connected to API tokens.
Yeah.
And have flexibility of choosing which you wish to use. But the system that you built, the idea behind it and the connection with knowledge, articles, persona, all the documentation which gives those borders to your bot,
Yeah.
to your LLM, you'll just have a different one that you
The
use
guide
because
rails, yeah. I think the bots will probably swap, right? Depending on the
exactly.
function that the bot has to deliver, the specialization, but the foundation is what will actually feed into everything.
The foundation will stay the same. It's very much looking now, following all industry talks. Klarna CEO, Salesforce, Zendesk, everyone has the same understanding now, after a very aggressive bubble and messy implementations around across all industries. Everyone starts to understand very firmly that the documentation and the cleanliness or
The quality,
the
yeah.
quality of the data is what matters and will be more and
Yeah.
more the topic of
So we
discussion.
talk about quality of data. So in one hand, you have a knowledge management that reflects the way the organization wants to work. And on the other hand, you have transactional information, which has more to do with products, services, the metadata that you should have from your products.
Millions. Yes.
Right? So that metadata becomes extremely important if you want to automate processes, right?
Yes.
So having that the foundation incorporate the understanding of the knowledge management and the product metadata management as well to surface in the interactions. This
Of
is
course, yes.
foundational.
And this is another part of this whole ecosystem, is that our catalog management teams, they will also not be replaced. They cannot do everything manually, absolutely. But they are there to control what is happening, to control the automated inputs and enrichments that are made through AI. And there will, in every department, not just support, not just CX, quality assurance, there will always be a human calibrating, training, and reviewing the quality of output.
Yeah. You're growing your footprint in your B2B accounts, right? If you're a B2B and B2C organization, in B2B it's extremely important to be accurate, right? Because in B2C, you can have one instance of, let's say, me needing a new car part, but maybe I don't come back to you for 3 years, right? Also, a B2B account requires consistency through time and persistently in every interaction, right? So I think this is where we are seeing clients that have both models. The clients that are moving customer service agents to become B2B customer success advisors and someone that helps become the bridge between the organization and the client by really understanding where the value lays, and they become these more empowered figures to support those type of clients, right? Yeah, B2B is a different animal, I think, altogether.
Yes, for us it's very close to traditional customer service. We have key account managers, but as you said, they have this enhanced type of vision, workflows, feedback gathering, constant communication with the customer on a deeper level to understand what they need to improve their business, essentially. So
Yeah.
by growing together, and this it's a wide range from new types of logistic solutions, some tweaks in the journey, adjustments to some technical aspects, some different functionalities in their cart or their profile. So we put attention to that. It's big customers, but we also keep in mind that the biggest volume of orders comes from B2C in the individual customers. And on that side, we design it as effortlessly as possible for the customer to complete his journey with the least effort
Yeah.
possible, with some self-service features along the way. And also very important to us is to follow the voice of customer workflows that we created, meaning
Yeah.
coming
Feedback.
back, feedback coming from reviews, from it can be someone physically coming to pick up a parcel at our HQ and gives a comment, and we have systems to input that comment, input that feedback, teams that understand who this relates to, assign to the department, and it goes through the full cycle. And we really put the value in resolving all the issues that we can so they don't repeat,
Yeah.
which is a very logical and simple
Simple.
thought,
Yeah.
but it's very
Yeah.
difficult
Yeah.
in
But it's
practice.
difficult to obtain.
I think the automated resolutions combined with knowledge articles does not feel magical to me, because it's a very logical approach. It's the topic is this, the intent is recognized, the knowledge base is scanned to find the correct. It's a very straightforward approach. I think the magic happens for the teams and for features like the ticket summary, the enhancement of text, where
Yeah.
it just feels very effortless, and it's things that require a lot of energy.
Yeah.
The fine tuning
Yeah.
of reading through, focusing, and trying to understand the core of the issue. If you're able to read a summary which is accurate
Yeah.
and presents you the case without having to dig too much and review multiple different tickets and requests, I think this I started also at Trodo in customer service, and I understand the value in it, not having had it
So
in the
that's a
past.
massive productivity gain.
Yes, productivity, of course. A lot of those talks is return on investment,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
productivity, resource saving, but the core of the magic comes from the employee
Yeah.
experience.
It for the employee, it feels like magic because they
Yes,
lived the world
of
before,
course.
and now they're living this. And to have a technology product that delivers that user experience of saying, wow, this feels cool. I think that's an achievement. And obviously, everything that is behind that requires hard work. And I think that's where we are working with clients and understanding what that means. If you were able to go back in time 18 months and say, hey, heads up, you should know this, or for people who are watching this, what would be your one piece of advice in terms of how to do this again, how to do this well?
It's not one piece of advice, it's more a combination. But there's different profiles, of course, of companies. There are some that are already very advanced technologically, and there's very old companies that wish to make the change. So it's different approaches. Some do the digital transformation transition, and some just need to understand what they want to achieve, and the technical side of it is already their know-how. But Mainly, it's if you don't have external expertise to frame the journey for you and the steps that need to be taken. And once those steps,
The roadmap.
once the roadmap is set, it could be very like a broad overview at first, but the main points need to be very clearly defined. And most importantly along the line is don't expect a consultant, don't expect a partner, anyone else than yourself to do the heavy
To do
lifting.
the work. Yeah.
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 Heavy lifting sounds also very negative. It's not, but it's
But
very dedicated.
the heavy lifting is where the
Targeted.
gains are. When you look at athletes, they don't get amazing at just doing everyday routines. They have to do the heavy lifting. But this is a work that is quite conscientious and that requires attention to detail. But that's where the big gains are.
You compared it to a real life scenario, it's very much that. It's very hard also for most of society to work in an introspective manner, to understand
Yeah.
what you need to fix in yourself to improve.
Yeah.
So how can you expect the people struggling with that personally to translate it in work? It's a job that has to be done if you want to grow as a human in any area of your life.
Yeah.
You need to have that step
That
back
approach.
and the approach to
And
understand.
it's not something that you can do in weeks, right?
No, of course not. This is a multi-year, possibly endless project because we don't know what's going to happen next month.
We took around 6 months to set the foundation. You had a lot of work to do in your particular case because you were quite mature. The organization is mature. The volume that you're handling is huge. You have millions of car parts, millions of emails, 40,000 tickets a month. That's 500,000 tickets a year that you have to respond within a specific SLA. Yeah, it's obviously not going to be a matter of days, but it's also not going to be a huge amount of time like it used to be, like where you go into these enterprise projects and they will be endless.
It's a very common scenario. You have huge amount of work and you have the opportunities to create workflows, to create systems that will reduce the work, but you do not have enough time to work on them because you're
tending to
fully
fires.
yes. So those are decisions that you need to make to prioritize. You need to make sure to appoint certain areas of your business to focus on it, and it will pay off.
Yeah.
It absolutely will pay off. You compared it to athletes. If an athlete has to sustain his life by working at Tesco's, he will have to have the discipline to go to the training sessions, even if
even if he's doing the work.
it's in every area. It's the same.
We are doing quite a lot of work with brands on trying to help them navigate this journey of adopting AI. A big piece of the work, the type of work that we're doing now, is assessing and driving AI readiness. What are the foundational pieces, building the foundational pieces so service organizations can adopt technologies? The technology is evolving so fast. We're now moving to no UI, headless, integrated systems. So it's all a very fast moving environment. So if you're watching this and you think you need help, feel free to reach out. Thank you very much for the insights. Thank you, everybody, and see you in the next one.